We're going to go ahead and get started. I see some more people are coming in. We're so happy to have you today. This is our CFP Board webinar. It's really focused for program directors today, so thank you to all your program directors and faculty who are joining us. You've got a range of team members here, both from CFP Board and our featured presentation from Hannah Moore, CFP Professional of Amplified Planning, who runs the Externship Program. That's going to be our main focus today. What we wanted to kick off with is really just go around and do an introduction, so make sure you understand some of the CFP Board team who's all working to support and engage our registered programs going forward. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Jason Godinez. I'm the Managing Director of Workforce Development at CFP Board. And my team is really focused on creating a sustainable and diverse future pipeline of talent, and we work very closely with our education team. With that, let me kick it over to Ava Marie.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Ava Marie Ginocchio, and I serve as the Specialist for Registered Programs. As some of you may be aware, one of my primary responsibilities is overseeing and supporting all of our CFP Board registered programs, including managing new applications, renewals, and so on. And a key focus of mine is to identify opportunities in which we can enhance and support our programs better. I'm sure some of you know, back in 2023, I introduced a new resource for all program directors, which is the Registered Programs Forum. And this forum was specifically created for directors as a platform to connect, ask questions, gain insights, receive resources, updates more frequently. And while the conference remains a vital opportunity for engagement, my goal was to establish an online community where program directors can access support for all registered programs. Additionally, last year, we implemented a significant updates to our newsletter, which now includes more comprehensive resources and updates for our programs. I am always open to hearing more suggestions and discussing further ways in which we can better support our programs. However, before we proceed, I will now pass the floor to our Director of Education, Dr. Joelle Brown-Grant, who will share some additional insights. Joelle?
Thank you, Eva Marie. Hello, everybody. I am very pleased to be here to be engaging with you on these very interesting topics. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing in the education team. As you see, we are today we're having hosting this webinar with very important information for you. I just want to let you know that this is part of a series of webinars we're planning this year to strengthen the engagement with the registered programs. We are planning one that is coming up pretty soon next month, where we're going to talk about education verification issues. We have another workshop, another webinar coming up in the future, very near future, on a review of registered program processes. Many of you have sent us questions and may need a refresher on some of the processes for program renewals. So we're preparing a webinar on that. Another webinar we're preparing towards the fall is on education issues and AI. There've been a lot of questions about what is the function and how can AI be impactful in the financial planning classroom. So we're looking at preparing a webinar on that. And this is just part of, as I said, our plan that we have to have much closer engagement with registered programs. And I'd like to close with letting you know that many of you might have seen in our newsletter, we have launched a travel program. And that means that we are visiting our registered programs, having face-to-face engagement interactions with registered programs across the country. And the purpose of this is to, like I said before, strengthen the engagement, listen more closely to what issues you're facing, and have discussions about ways in which we can leverage our resources here at CFP Board to support your program and help you grow. So if any of you are interested at some point to having us come to your campus, please send me an email, reach out to me or Eva Marie. We had a really interesting visit with a couple of schools in Florida last month, and we're hoping to continue to do this. So thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it over to Jason.
Great, thanks, Joelle. Thanks, Eva Marie. So let's talk about the externship program. So CFP Board has been a big fan of the externship program. I don't want to steal Hannah's thunder here, but I do want to talk a little bit about why we support it and why we think it's so critical and in a really unique space that's fitting within the ecosystem. Is when CFP Board created a workforce team, which was a few years ago, we started thinking about, what are programs, and ideally scalable programs, where we could really help people once they get more information and start becoming more aware about the profession. How can we give them some kind of program where they can really see what the work is, right? I think a lot of times those who are trying to enter the profession still don't really know, even down to students, right? You have wonderful academic programs. We've heard from a number of folks too, like how do we bring that experience into the classroom? How do we help a student kind of self-assess as they continue down that career journey? And the more that we talk to Hannah, the more that we were impressed at the program she's built. So we're very happy to partner with you, Hannah. Thank you so much for being here. And let's turn it over to you.
Yes, well, thank you, Jason. I really, really appreciate that. And I just think there's so much synergy with kind of what we're doing with what you're doing and what so many of these program directors are doing. So just a really quick introduction for myself. I am a CFP professional. I am a financial planner here in the Dallas area. I have my own financial planning practice. And we also run Amplified Planning, which is where the externship, where that lives. And so the externship, it really got started. We've had a long history of, really investing in the next generation of talent, whether that be a podcast or online communities. We've always just had an interest in helping new planners just be successful in this space. And when 2020 hit, we were partnered with FPA at the time and really looked around, we were hearing, whispers of a pandemic, and trying to see, how could we help the community of financial planners? And there were a couple of people we started hearing a lot from. We started hearing from students who were losing their internships. And then we started hearing from professors who were saying, my students are losing their internships. What do we do? And there weren't really any good solutions on the table. And so we went to the drawing board. We ran some focus groups with students and asked them, why do you want an internship? What are you looking to get out of an internship? And we just started writing down our list of what this could look like and pulling out, the top, we'll never replace that one-on-one experience that people get in an internship experience. And that is so important. But we started realizing that everything that they were saying, we started wondering, asking the question, could we do this better and at scale? And so that's really how the externship was born, was out of a response to COVID. And so that first year, it really went viral. Reddit was one of our biggest referral sources. We got into over 200 universities. And what we found is that we were really meeting a need that we didn't really see outside of COVID. And it's really opened our eyes to a number of things. So this is our 6th year running the externship. So we've now got a number of these kind of under our belt, if you will. And this started out as an internship replacement, as it was going to replace internships. And now how this program has become, we're seeing students who are using this as their primary internship. We are seeing firms using this as an internship supplement, where they're putting their folks in there as something to do in addition to it's the baseline of their internship, and they're adding programs on top of it. We're seeing this as a way for people who would not traditionally be able to do an internship experience to be able to do that. Every year, we have college students who can't afford to do a traditional internship because they're working construction during the day, and they can fit the externship in throughout the course of their day, whether that's in the evenings, whether that's on their commutes, whatever that may be. And we've also seen it open up a whole audience to career changers. So to give just some other context on this, about 31% of our folks are first generation college students. So we are just really encouraged. That's just always an encouraging number to see that. And then we're continuing to have more and more universities really embrace this and promoting this to their students. And we're seeing universities use it in different kind of ways and formats. And so we can talk about that later. We're seeing it as, early on in somebody's college journey. So even freshmen and sophomores taking this to figure out if this is the right career path for them, or those in juniors and seniors as well. And it's a great resume booster as well for them. So I'm going to just jump into kind of what is the program, and feel free, Jason or anyone, if you guys want to jump in or ask any questions, I can do that. But what is the externship, right? Like what is this program? It is an 8-week program in the summer. It starts beginning of June, so the first Monday in June, and ends at the end of July. We give everyone the whole month of August to complete all of their assignments because we know life happens. But it's an 8-week program, and it's 20 hours of work each week that's kind of tied into this. And when we say 20 hours, we really mean 20 hours. We pride ourselves in making this a very rigorous program. So the different kind of elements of what your students would experience as they go through the externship. Every week, we're covering one of the primary CFP topics. So that can be, well, the first one's kind of onboarding, kind of that client experience onboarding. We talk about cash flow planning, investment planning, retirement planning, insurance, estate, tax, and there's one more, student loan planning. And each one of these weeks really gets its own week that we highlight on this. And one of the things that we found, I certainly found this in my experience when I came into financial planning, was I saw financial planning almost in a two-dimensional way, where this was just kind of, this is how you did it. But what we love to showcase is how different planners do different types of planning and what this looks like. So each week we bring in 3 experts who do this area of financial planning different. Now, it could be the way their firm is structured. It could be the clients that they could serve. It could just be the unique way that they view the world. And so we'll get, for example, for investment planning, we'll get somebody who's doing, straight index funds. We'll get somebody who's using a DFA model or something. And then we'll bring in somebody who's doing social responsible investing. And we get to show different ways of which financial planners think about why they're doing those things. So each week we bring these 3 experts in. They're all so generous. They share real client deliverables. So your students would actually get to see what's getting in front of clients, 3 different versions of that for different types of clients. And then all of those folks come back to the Wednesday live office hours with us. We have had folks from career centers join the externship before, and they have described it as just an intense informational interview kind of setup. They're like, we recommend students do this all the time, and you're just building in this structure for them to see 24 of these throughout the course of the program. So highly engaging on that side of it. So we have our experts as kind of the foundation of each week that we're bringing into that. The second thing that we do is we give a full tech stack of what they would get as if they were in a financial planning firm. And so they're going to get their e-money, they're going to get their Morningstar, Redtail, On-Course States, and Asset Map. Those are kind of our 5 that we have. And so they're going to get full access to this technology. But what makes us unique is how we use this technology within the program. And so after the first year of the externship, we decided to bring in real client meetings. And so for this client meeting, this year's externship, it is Keith and Beth Henry are our clients. And so every week in the externship, they're going to get to see another meeting with Keith and Beth as they're engaging throughout this experience of financial planning. And so we record the real meeting. They're going to get to see the real client documents. Obviously, we're editing them for personal information, but they're going to get to watch each week. They get to watch one of these meetings. And so what's cool about this is I actually rewatch it myself and teach from it. So you're gonna see probably every 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, I'll pause the video and say, okay, did you see what the client said there? Okay, now this is going to come back when we start talking about their insurance, or here's why I asked that question, or shoot, I wish I would have listened a little bit better here because that's going to frame out this more information. And so really giving that real-time feedback on that client meeting and helping them think, we really want to show them how financial planners think and get that experience of it. So they're going to watch those client meetings, and then we are going to have them build out the full financial plan within the technology. So they're going to be entering in, taking the real client documents, putting that all into eMoney. They're going to be running the projections that they're seeing in the meeting. They're going to be doing the work as if they were in an office, with other, with financial planners, and engaging in that. So we give them weekly assignments that they're going to have to do. Most of the assignments are within the technology of really showing what this financial plan for Keith and Beth looks like. So we're still in we're recording the final meetings right now with Keith and Beth, but here's what's going to be interesting about Keith and Beth. And I think y'all can appreciate this. Each client, you never exactly know what they're going to bring to a situation, but what's unique about Keith and Beth is they're not I have some clients who are highly financially literate. That's not them, but they've made some good choices, as in they bought some really good tech stocks back in 2001 and have just let them ride to the point now where I think it's Amazon. It's one of the big ones, is 51% of their portfolio. A single stock holding is 51% of their portfolio. And so we're having those real life conversations, right? And so they're going to get to see, how does the client actually engage with that? And I think this is such a good example of, like, on paper, they should diversify, but how do you handle the client emotions, how the client is thinking about this? And they're going to get to see that firsthand, and they're going to get to see kind of what those recommendations look like and how the client engages with it, right? And that plays out. So that's going to be one of the really fun, especially in this market environment, one of the fun kind of threads that's going to follow with this. One of the other neat things with the client meeting piece is Keith and Beth have actually agreed to come back in week 8 of the externship. And so they're going to do a live Q&A with our externs about, or our students and our externs can ask questions about, what was this financial planning process like? What did it look like? What did it, when Hannah said this, why did, they get to ask all those questions, which I'm really, really excited. It's going to be a really kind of fun dynamic that we're bringing to this program. So each week we have the experts, the deliverables, the client meeting. They're doing the assignments to kind of build out the financial plan for these clients. Like I said, doing the work. We hold their hands with them on this. One of the things that we were really intentional about with the externship is we want people of all levels to be able to engage with this. So that's going to mean every year we have high school students who do this program, all the way up to experienced financial planners. We've had folks who've done every one of our 5 externships so far. And what we hear, we're super intentional about how we design the curriculum. And again, I can answer more questions about this of kind of what this looks like. But if you have a student who has no financial planning experience, we will walk with them the entire way. They will be able to complete this externship from beginning to end, because we're going to walk and give that instruction with them on that. If you have somebody who has a little bit more experience, what we found is that they're going to get a different things. There's so many layers to this program that those who are getting started out, they're going to see what financial planning looks like. People who have done this a couple of years, they're going to start to see some of the nuances of business models, of how we're communicating things. What are the actual workflows that are in place? And so it's a really kind of just neat experience as we're talking to past externs about what this has looked like as they're doing this and what they've learned in different years, depending upon where they are kind of in that financial planning journey. But going back to what is in the program, we also bring in live technology sessions. So we're bringing in these technology platforms to answer questions, to do some of that live Q&A training that we have. And then we have what we call our level up sessions. When we think about the externship, our filter is, how can we help new planners be successful? And this is what we throw at them. We will throw at them resume help. We will throw at them we bring in compensation studies, right? What does this look like? We'll bring in, different niches of, what does this look like? So last year we brought in some people who specialize in business owners or special needs planning and things like that to really just give a taste of what can be in this program. And so that's going to be, and that can be, several hours. Some of those are live sessions. Some of those are pre-recorded. We talk about the CFP designation, why they would want to get that, and just helping them kind of answer those questions. And so that's kind of what the externship looks like. So each week, like I mentioned, is about 20 hours. From a professor or university standpoint, we've had a lot of people ask us, okay, how do I know where they're at on this? Every week they get a certificate. So there's an actual kind of reporting that's done at the end of each week. And then after they finish each one of the 8 weeks of the program, they get a final completion certificate, because we kept hearing over and over how important that was for, especially if universities were partnering or sending their students through, they wanted to be able to kind of see where are they on track. And so we do have that as part of the program. The other interesting aspect of the program that we have is our forums. I have been around financial planning a while now, and I have never seen a more engaged forum than I see in the externship every year. From people introducing themselves to students asking questions, they're going to find community. We have live sessions. So every week we have a live, kind of more of it's not happy hour, but we call them our live and late sessions. And that's really for them just to be able to connect with other people, right? And so there's a lot of kind of engagement. So if you send your students through this program, they're going to be able to find other students. They're going to be able to connect with other people who have similar passions or things that they care about, which I think is just one of the other really just neat aspects of this. This is not just an online course online. They're also going to get this community of other people who are like them and share a similar passion. I think that's what's really neat. So many, we hear oftentimes of, I didn't know there were other people out there like this. And so it's really neat to see what that looks like. So that is kind of what is the externship? What is actually like tangibly within that program? What are kind of the various aspects around that? So when I think about, we talk learning objectives, what do I hope somebody gets out of the externship? Like at the end of the day, like we have all, all the program, like all the education pieces within the program. What is it that I want them to get out? And, I think for me, the first kind of easy line is financial planning a career for me? And I know that can sound so simple, but we really want to make this come alive for students. We want them to be able to see what this looks like in practice. Like I want students to be able to say, oh, this is work that I love, or, oh, actually, nope, I actually want to go back to my accounting major, or my finance major, or whatever that may be. We want to give them a front row seat to experience as much as we can on what this looks like in practice. We want to give them experience in the technology. One of the neat things about what we do on the technology front is they get access to the full tech suite. I know a lot of universities have that as well, but what we do different is how we train around it. So yes, we offer the e-money certificate, so they can get the certificate there, but we really take a lot of time in training them on this. And so what this looks like is primarily through the homework assignments they have to do every week. Where I walk through that with them. And so it's not just the standard kind of technology like demo training. This is really going to be walking through, okay, so here's how we're going to be entering this information. This is what it's going to look like. So to give you, again, Keith and Beth are fresh on my mind because I've been working on this. Beth has 2 pension plans that she's part of. And we're looking through like those statements. We're going to be diving into the weeds of how do we enter pension plans into e-money? Should we be entering the pension piece or the assets? Okay, so this is what we're going to do for Keith and Beth, and here's why we're going to do this. But if we had a different client, here's going to be the nuances around it. It's a lot of that coaching that you want and mentoring that you want within a firm, but it's really hard to give because it's time consuming. And so we're really getting like, that's the level of kind of training that we're providing on this, where it's far more kind of in-depth training on this. And we have heard repeatedly from folks from firms who their people have done the externship, how they're just ready to hit the ground running when they get into those jobs. And we think a lot of it is just that very practical nitty gritty in the software, working through a lot of these pieces. The other thing is we want to give them just a real client experience. Like we want to show, what does this look like? We find that a lot of people, again, myself included, when I came out of financial planning, I didn't know what this looked like, right? It was kind of this like ambiguous black box of like, how do you actually do this? Like, I think I know how to do budgeting with like myself and like friends, but what does financial planning actually look like? And so that's one of the things that we really want to show is what do real client meetings look like? We played with the idea of role playing this. We actually had somebody the first shoot to externship. She was so gracious. She was like, we're gonna role play this. And I remember watching that and being like, and that's not how client meetings go, because there's just so much more dynamic. You don't know what the client's gonna say. You don't know the story, the narrative that's going on. And to be able to show what that looks like, I think it's one of the things that really sets this program apart, is really giving them, like I said, that very practical, how do we provide financial guidance to people who need it and need that experience? We also, I think, what do we want them to get out of this? Again, just a lot of just building up their competencies and skill sets. Looking at, I know we have the CFP knowledge-based, the competencies, and we reinforce those. So we're not going to be doing training so much on like, what are the 12 different retirement accounts? We're going to say, how does this look like in practice? So we're very much focused on the application of those skills of what does it mean? Like they're getting those trainings from the programs from y'all. And what does that look like in practice? How are we implementing that? How are we thinking about that? How are we communicating those things to clients, right? Like we find oftentimes, and we'll have some very, prior years are an indicator, we'll have some very engaging, lively conversations about how are we sharing this information with clients? What does this actually look like? What is about implementation versus recommendations? And so they really get to see kind of some of the nuances around what that looks like. And then lastly, just this deeper understanding of financial planning principles. Like I said, we want financial planning to come alive for them. We want them to be able to kind of get the connection of what does this look like in practice? We've worked with professors in the past who said they can just tell a difference from their students who've done the externship versus those who haven't, because they're coming in and they're drawing those connections. So they're in their classroom and they're able to see the connections because they've seen this in practice. They've been able to kind of put framework around it of how does this actually play out. And so that's really, when we look at kind of why we do this and what we're trying to get out of this, it's really, again, that connection. And then knowing where they want to land in this field. I have a particular interest of, why can't we get more than, the 20% of, women? And there's lots of issues, right? But I really, for me, my hope is that folks will see that there's so many different career paths that they can go in this field, and they can see that there's so many different aspects and avenues for them to pursue. And if they're not in the right spot right away, that's okay, that there's other opportunities elsewhere for them as well. And so for that, we talk about bringing in experts. We bring in over 60 different experts every year into the externship. They're going to get to hear from folks all over the board, from people with ultra high net worth to folks who are starting, helping people with their student loans and just budgeting help, and to everything in between. So we really want to give them just that broad range of that experience. So we're hoping to kind of get out of the program. So some of the benefits to your students, one is if they complete this program, they get 500 CFP experience hours towards a standard pathway, which is a big deal especially when we're looking at, how they can get into this space. It gives them an immediate leg up. Just from a very practical standpoint, it's going to help them get their CFP designation faster. And there's a lot of promotions. There's a lot of things that are tied to that in the workplace. So you're going to help them just kind of get a leg up on that side of it. I mentioned the e-money certificate. So that's, again, something that they can add to their resume. We're going to show them volunteer opportunities, ways to get involved. One of the things we think about a lot is we want to give them the next steps that they need to do to be successful. And then just helping putting this on their resume. We're finding that firms are looking for this now. So we're seeing that that's an advantage for them to have. They're going to be able to go and sit in interviews. And what we're hearing from our externs, as well as the firms that they're interviewing with, is they're going to be able to have just a whole different conversation, around, this field. So I've attributed this to a couple of things. So one is they get to see the space, right? They get to see there's a depth of experience that they're going to get on this. But the second thing, and I know this, they're going to be able to speak the language of financial planners. When you're hearing from 60 different financial planners, you're going to learn how we talk, how we think. And so when you're going into these interviews, there's just going to be they're going to understand the firms that they're interviewing with a lot better and be able to kind of speak that language, if you will. And so again, like I said, we're seeing more and more firms who are wanting to see the externship on folks' resume because they know the training that they're going to get in that. So with that, I can show you what the externship looks like. I don't know, Jason, is there anything you want me to add on to that before I kind of just show you just really quick kind of a peek into what last year's externship looked like?
Oh, I think it's great. Maybe I'll just add one thing, or maybe double down on one thing here too. Is like this, part of the reason we were so intrigued by this and love supporting it is it really bridges that gap between, my time studying, my academic journey, or for other audiences, whether it's career changes or not. Like, I'm curious about this to make it real, but not just like make it real in terms of I can see a client meeting or kind of see it play out. I am now doing something alongside that to solidify. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but one of the most compelling stats we've seen is that from those who complete the externship, like nearly 85% of them are saying it made them really deepen their commitment to the profession and confirm for them, like, yes, this is a profession I really want to be a part of, which is a huge number.
Yeah, it's been, no, thank you for sharing that, Jason. And I think one of the things that's been so fascinating on our side of it, like we started this program, again, students, and I think there's a huge market for that. And what we realized is it's opening doors. So I know a lot of these programs are, directly to undergrad, but I know there's some of these that are just certificate programs or things like that. And it's opened up the door for career changers as well, to come into this space. It's a really good in that space because it's asynchronous. They can do it on their own time. Every year we have a group of stay-at-home parents looking to get back in the workforce. And it's just really neat to see that wasn't available to them. They would literally have to quit. They have to do education, then they have to quit their jobs, to go see if this is the right field for them. And we're wanting to change that narrative. We're wanting to say like, hey, get a peek inside of this, figure out if this is really what you want to do before having to make that leap. And so it's neat to see kind of those pieces come in and helping people in that journey.
That's great. Can you give us that peek behind the curtain and what it all looks
Yes,
like?
let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is what the course looks like. This is our LMS that we have here. Like I said, everything is asynchronous. So we have live sessions every week within the program. If you miss a week, or if you miss a live session, that is no problem. We say it'll be 24 hours. We're usually at a 2 to 3 hour turnaround. This is definitely our focus in the externship. So if you have a student who has another internship, a job, anything like that, they can still be engaged on this. And so you'll see here, this is just kind of each week we have it divided out. You know, we have various surveys that we're going to have them. Here's examples of our experts. You can see the videos there. Again, this is just going to be a simple just meeting with Anna here. Anna shared her entire new client onboarding process checklist. And like when I say she shared it, like she shared all of it. It's like 30 pages of just seeing, like, again, these planners are so generous with what they're giving to these externs. And so I just did an interview. I was telling Jason and team all about this. I just did an interview with a guy who was a 2021 extern. He's now in practice himself. And so he said that he still goes back to his notes of the previous externship because there was so much information. So he still goes back when he's facing a client situation or is like, wait, how did they talk about that? Or what's a resource that we can have? So truly your students are going to get, I mean, I don't say a binder, but they will have a whole file on each area of financial planning and what this looks like. So we'll add in different pieces. So like here's the article to think like a CFP. We'll have this here. And so what's great about this is we also, you know, I mentioned the community side of it, right? So we have, we put it all in there. Here's the comments. So there's so much engagement around, you know, what's getting in here. Like it's really this community, like they're not just learning in isolation. There really is a whole community of folks that they're going to be able to engage with. And these are just all comments on this one article here. It's pretty neat to see this. Then we have their assignments. So we have a values exercise for them because we're really big on that values. What are client values? And we're a big believer for them to understand how that impacts the client. They have to experience it themselves. And then navigating Redtail. So they're going to actually dive into some of the software and figure out those pieces. Here's examples of the real client meetings. So last year we had Sarah and Steve in the client kind of meeting. And so you can just see here, this is truly, you get to see the real client meeting here of what it looks like on Zoom. And they're sitting out, although that's in their house there, but they do have one meeting where they're on their balcony. Your clients are on their phones. They get to see the real experience there. And then we'll teach from that as well. They have access to the full meeting without commentary if that's something that they're interested in. And then we have the live office hours here, more support, the support hour, the training that we have, our live evening session that we have breakout rooms. Again, we're really focused on how can we help them develop and build community with this. And then we have, we call our extra bits or level up sessions, working with physicians, the financial planning job market, like what can they expect on there? And then we have their weekly turn in here. So this is week 1 of the externship. And then each week, you know, we're going to see kind of a similar format of what this looks like. And then at the end for the turn in order to, I haven't done it on this account here for the work, but they have to do all of these pieces, do their quiz, and then they'll get that certificate. So like I said, we have a number of universities who are using this as independent study or internship credit. And this is a way to just check to make sure that your student is doing that. We actually did the weekly certificates at request of professors who are doing this program. So this is what kind of the program, what your students will see when they come in here from a flow of a program standpoint. So with that, I can open it up, see if there's any questions or anything that.
We've got one coming in from Alexander. And the question is about, is it something you can do while you're studying for the CFP? I'm assuming they need the exam, but possibly some of the other education portions as well, Also saying, which is also fairly intense, how does that look, your student base, compared to those who are kind of dealing with other parts of the certification process?
So this is a fascinating question. So one of the things so we do these open houses whenever we kick off the externship. So we have one coming up in April. And so we get this question often of like, hey, I'm studying for my exam, or I'm at this point of the journey. What should I be doing? And I think it was last year, we just opened it up because we had past externs and they basically debated the best time to take the externship. And so which is really neat. So we're seeing that, if we have people answer questions, we have the data around where are they on their career journey. So we have about 40% who they're still kind of curious. They haven't started taking any classes or anything, kind of that exploration phase. And then it's pretty evenly divided beyond that, of whether they're taking classes, they finish the classes, like kind of where they are in that journey. And so we absolutely see people who will be sitting for the July exam doing the externship. We give that extra month of August. So we have a full month of catch up for them if they want to do it. One of I don't know if it's good or bad, it's just kind of the things about the externship is we only do it once a year. This is a massive program and undertaking. So we just do it in June and July. And so we have folks who will sign up for it and then start taking it after the exam in July. And then they have access to this kind of indefinitely. So we'll still see people, we can track all the data on our site. We're still seeing people referencing back to past externships. So they still get access to all the content and they have that extra time at the end to do it. As to when they want to do it within that journey, it really comes down, what I've learned as I've listened to folks debating about this, is it really comes down to learning style. Some people are like the experience of it, seeing how it all connects, helps them in studying for the CFP exam. Other people are like, it's just too overwhelming. That's just too much. So it really is going to go down to really an individualized kind of perspective of what this looks like for them. The other thing on the externship is, yes, we want a high completion rate. That is one of our metrics that we look at. But I always tell people, like, you could I've been in practice now almost 15 years. I would do the externship every year just to hear the Monday sessions on the live experts of how they do financial planning, because I just learn every year. It makes my practice better. And so we're going to get people as well who say, okay, I can't do the full thing, but I can do parts of it. And so that's also kind of an interesting demographic as well.
Right. There's a question on, the deadline here. And I know the product is still being built, I believe, for 2025 for this summer. But any sort of timing updates for folks that they should be aware of?
Yep. So registration is going live April 1st. And then registration cuts off, I think it's May 23rd. And then let me get the right date here. That first Monday in June is our start date. So it is going to be June 2nd is when we're kicking off. So yeah, those are the dates that we have this. We also have scholarships available. We never want money to be the reason somebody can't do that. I don't remember our scholarship cutoff date, but definitely do it earlier on April for the scholarship pieces if you have students who need that.
Okay. And do you have material to this question from Ron? I think it's a good question. There's actually a couple coming in. So Ron, one of the questions is live or on Zoom. This is on Zoom right now, but it's also live. I mean, this isn't pre-recorded in any way at this point, but so these questions, we're taking them real time. The real question for you, Hannah, is about materials to share with students on info or the website. So if folks want to learn about this now, where should they go?
Yep. If you go to amplifyplanning.com/externship, so that's going to be kind of our page for the program. We have, Jason, I'm happy to share with you kind of our externship one pagers that we have for universities. So we can share that as well with you guys.
Let's go ahead and get that. And actually we'll circulate that after the event to all the attendees today. What other questions do we have here?
One of the things that I know that we wanted to, especially talking with program directors, is it can be hard to, we want to give you guys the experience of the externship as well. So if you guys are interested just yourselves in doing the externship, we are giving any program director just free access to the externship this year. And so if you are interested in doing it and just seeing it for yourself for the first time, you can go to hello or email us at hello@amplifiedplanning.com and let us know that you were on this session, and that we will make sure that you guys get a free seat into the externship this year so that you can really experience it firsthand and see what this is about, because I think that's one of the best ways to learn about the program.
I got another question for you though, Hannah. I know we know the program has grown sizably over the past few years. Do you have any sense of like where this is headed in terms of the number of externs that are going to be entering the program this year?
So we already have as of a week and a half ago, we've already have over 2,000 folks who have expressed interest in this program, which is I know large part into our partnership, but there's, one of the coolest things for me is we always ask everyone, where did you hear from? How did you hear about the externship? Word of mouth continues to be the number one place that we're hearing from this. And so we're hearing it from, students who are just telling all their friends to join it. I can't tell you how many times there's some serious like FOMO going on sometimes within even some of the university pieces where they're like, wait, you did what? I want to do that too. And so we're seeing that word of mouth is it's a program that just keeps building on itself, which is really, really neat. But yeah, we have at least, it's probably, with the clip that we were at, it's even higher than that now for sure. So we're just really excited to see those numbers keep growing. One of the things that we think about so much is we really want to be the welcome mat into financial planning for these folks. Like that's just something that's just so near and dear to our heart, is just letting them know that like there's a place for you in this field, like that like whatever your passions are, whatever your skill sets are, like we need good people in the space helping for this larger vision of what we're doing is helping people with their personal finances. And we really want them to know that we really want to help communicate to them that there's a place for them, that they're welcome here, and that we just want to be that place that just welcomes them.
Yeah, and I've been through it, and I know it's a very welcoming atmosphere. I want to double down again on like a couple things that when our team is going through this program, which was like very compelling, is that networking element, especially as this scales. I saw groups saying, hey, I'm a former veteran, and people watching on saying, oh, I'm coming from that world too. How do we connect? There seems to be this like sort of self-selection or self-identification process within the pool of people where they're figuring out who their people are. I saw some of it like geographic. Oh, I'm in this area. Do you want to like meet up? So there's that kind of connection benefit point as well. So while you've built this really great, connecting point and education point, and it's kind of moving from both of those into and doing the work and seeing the work point. There's also that networking element that I think is critical. And about how many alumni are there at this point of the externship program?
We're estimating it's over 4,000 alumni at this point. So yeah, so we're really seeing like just the impact of this. And even just to have that shared experience with other people, we're seeing like connections made, to your point, Jason, in the externship, but even after the externship, it's pretty neat to see those.
A few more questions coming through. I want to make sure we get to these. Are there any career resources or job listings that the externship can provide? I can start that answer and then I'll pass it over to you. Just for awareness for everyone on the call, CFP Board does have a job board. Last year, we actually had about 4,000 jobs posted on this. We also have virtual career fairs. The next one coming up is on April 25th. We also have one in the fall, the exact date TBD. It'll probably be in October, but we'll follow up with more information there. But we also do work closely. Something that Hannah and I have talked about is like, how do we support each other where there's opportunities to help the externs once they're going through the program, follow up on their next steps to certification, follow up on their next steps of finding jobs. What does that look like? Our hope is that the students coming to this, get into this cycle of communications. It's now, but you've expressed interest, you've put in some hard work. Let's take some of that work off your shoulders and just kind of point you in the right directions to where opportunities are to help them facilitate that journey. But Hannah, let me kick it over to you too about
No, I completely agree. And one of the things that we're, like I said, we want to see these folks be successful. That is our number one goal on this. And so we don't ourselves have a job board, but we point out to job boards. So like the CFP board, Schwab has their RIA Connect. And so we're really helping showing them like, what does this actually look like? How do we actually get on the job board? What does this look like? So I know, Jason, we had a video last year that where we were actually in like showing, here's where you go, here's where you upload your resume to get reviewed. Here's what this looks like. Here's how to filter these jobs. And so really trying to show them in practice what this looks like and how to do that.
I have another question here. Are there any minimum academic requirements to apply or any requirements at all to apply?
Nope. This is one of the things that I never realized that we were solving an access problem to financial planning. So yeah, there are no minimum requirements. Like I said, it was really neat. My husband, he was in education and wrote some curriculum. And so when we did the first year of the externship, we thought we were solving for juniors and seniors in college who already had some knowledge around financial planning. And within the first week, I'll never forget, we had a high school student sign up and we were both just gobsmacked. We were just like, oh my gosh, well, we have to rethink this. And so we went and redesigned the curriculum so that in our mindset around how we were doing this, so that we could take a high school student who has no background in this, just a passion in this, and walk them through all these pieces. And so that's what's really neat about this program. Funny story, not funny, but my mom did the extern. My mom she doesn't have a college degree. There's no background in this. She was just kind of curious about like what's going on in this. My mom did every single assignment and completed the externship, including pretty darn advanced e-money Roth conversion strategies and building out multiple things of doing it. And so it's really neat. Like we really take pride on the fact that there's no knowledge requirement on this. They will have to work hard for sure. We hear folks all the time who are like, I'm really struggling with this homework. I watched that video 5 times, but the thing is that they can do it and they did it. And so like, that's what's so cool about this is that, we'll really kind of hold their hand throughout this process of doing this. And if they want to complete it, like they will for sure have the tools. And we have support in about 12 different places for them to make sure that they are getting the resources in order to be successful.
That's great. Any other questions on anyone's mind? We've got a few minutes left. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap up then. Hannah, thank you so much for your presentation today. Thanks for the offer as well for connecting the program directors, with their complimentary seats to experience this, continuing to evolve this program, solve for a number of issues that are out there in the ecosystem, being a wonderful partner as well with us, always highly collaborative and forward thinking. Just can't thank you enough. And to our attendees today too, just to remind you of some of the comments Joelle made earlier. Joelle, if you can double down on your comments. These webinars, there'll be more coming soon. Please stay tuned. You'll be receiving more information about that. Don't forget to look at the newsletter that comes out and the individual invitations that are coming just to help you with a range of new topics and show our support for all the great work that you're doing at your registered programs and supporting students into the profession. So with that, we can adjourn and thank you all so much.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.